I talked to you a lot about the book already, but let me ask you this. You and Tom have kind of been pumping this for close to a year now.
I know.
Are you getting the response you had hoped for?
We are. It's been very positive, to be honest with you. I'm very pleased about that. Well, Tom does a great job, writing and putting everything together. So it worked out pretty well, and we've gotten a great response. Everybody that I've talked to has liked it, so I'm excited about that.
What's the best Sparky story you have, if there is one that sticks out?
Oh my gosh, there's a million Sparky stories.
Yeah, I know.
I in a lot of these conversations we have, when he first came on board, he was very much the disciplinarian. I think his job right out of the gate was to whip us all into shape because we were a bunch of young yahoos and thought we knew everything about the game. And not only did he change the atmosphere in the clubhouse and our dress code and how we wore our hair and no facial hair and how we wore our uniforms, but he let it be known that he was the boss. Yeah. And everybody had to adhere to his rules. So he told us a story about how he raises a garden in Thousand Oaks where he was living, and that he loved his plants that he grew, and every once in a while a weed would pop up, and he would pluck that weed right out of the garden. Well, he threw that little analogy out there to let us know that if we didn't do what we were told to do, that he had the authority to pluck us right out of his garden. So, and the very next day, somebody was gone. So, he put it into action.
I was going to say, without naming names, he got rid of the bad guys.
Well, he did. Yeah. He did, and I think that's what he was set out to do, yeah. and that's what he did. And if you did not conform, you weren't going to be around long. So,
Lance, you don't have a dog in this fight, but you played in the Pete Rose era. What do you think about now that he's going to be eligible for the Hall of Fame, about him being possibly in the Hall of Fame?
Well, here's the way I look at it, and I've said this all along. I understand what he did, and what he did was wrong. It took him a long time to admit it.
Yeah.
I'll agree with that. But as a baseball player, what he accomplished on the field, I think, is well beyond deserving of being in the Hall of Fame. It's just my opinion. Mm-hmm. I mean, as a baseball player, he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. When he was alive, if they wanted to bar him from the game and not let him contribute in any way because of what he did, betting on the game, then I understand that. But as a player, I think his statistics warrant him being in the Hall of Fame.
When we talked a couple of months ago, we talked about what the hopes were for the Tigers. What do you make of what they've done so far this year?
I'm just as well. I don't want to say I'm amazed, even though I am. Yeah. They finished up really strong last year. I was very excited to see that, along with every other Tiger fan around. I didn't know how they would start this season off. I wasn't, real thrilled about their opening series against the Dodgers, but it's defending world champions, and they were in every game. Mm-hmm. So, since then they've played very well, obviously, and to have the best record in baseball at this point in time, speaks volumes not only for the club, but for the guys that are running the club. So I'm excited. I hope they can keep it going. For me, the big thing is just keeping everybody healthy.
Yeah, since we've talked, you've lost Chet Lemon.
Yes. When
you saw him at the reunion in that bad a shape, I imagine you figured this might be the last time we see him, right?
Well, I think we all did.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he was in pretty bad shape, wasn't able to communicate a whole lot. But you could just see it in his eyes that he loved being there, loved being around his teammates. It was great to see him. And, we're all obviously sad and sorry that he has passed. But when we saw him there, we all pretty much figured and thought that probably would be the last time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.